Hello, this is Roland. I want to read you a poem today from a book called The Christian Book of Mystical Verse. The Christian Book of Mystical Verse, written by, or poems collected by A.W. Tozer. Okay? I want to read you a poem by Isaac Watts. Okay? Isaac Watts. This is called I Sing the Almighty Power of God. I sing the almighty power of God that made the mountains rise, that spread the flowing seas abroad and built the lofty skies. I sing the wisdom that ordained the sun to rule the day. The moon shines full at his command, and all the stars obey. I sing the goodness of the Lord that filled the earth with food. He formed the creatures with his word and then pronounced them good. Lord, how thy wonders are displayed wherever I turn my eye, if I survey the ground I tread or gaze upon the sky. There's not a plant or flower below, but makes thy glories known, and clouds arise and tempests blow by order from thy throne. Creatures that borrow life from thee are subject to thy care. There's not a place where we can flee, but God is present there. That's a very lovely poem by Isaac Watts, 1674 to 1748. I would like to also say something to you today about distractions. When you look, I'll give you a for instance. I was watching a video about health, and it was an interview of Dr. Sinatra, and he wrote a book. So the title was something like something to do with metabolism and cardiology. I can't remember the title now. But he has begun to see that it has a lot to do with the cells. And in the cell, actually the mitochondria, where energy is produced. And so he is looking more and more at cardiovascular health and health in general in terms of the cell, okay? Which we all know that, but we forget that our body is a collection of cells. And as the cell goes, so goes the body, okay? Your body is basically a whole bunch of cells that have combined together and work harmoniously with each other, each cell doing its part, each cell having an assigned duty. Together they make this marvelous form that God invented, called the human being. And with this marvelous form that God invented, you can walk around and see things and hear things and think things. And hopefully, also by your behavior, by your attitude, by your uprightness, your honesty, your kindness, your patience, your wisdom, okay? Your work, you will bring glory upon God who created thee. But the analogy I'm getting at is if it all depends on the cell, if the cell is healthy, see, you can't have a healthy body with unhealthy cells. But now, let's look at the spiritual side of life. And doesn't it all boil down to the moment? Okay, life is composed of, wasn't it Goethe who said, he said, sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a, no, it wasn't that. What am I thinking of now? It was, I forget who said it. Maybe it was Thomas Carlyle who said, Every second is a miniature minute, every minute a miniature hour, every hour a miniature day, every day a miniature year, every year a miniature lifetime. Okay? So it boils down to the moment. The symphony is played one note at a time, one moment at a time. Okay? And then the whole symphony is created. So it boils down to the moment. In your life, it boils down to the moment. Now, if that's true, remember I said that the health of the body depends upon the cell. Well, the health of your spiritual life depends upon how you relate to this moment and the next moment. Okay? Now, so what is it then that interferes with the moment? Well, when we're not doing what we ought to be doing in the moment. Okay? Or when our attitude is not correct. But for the time being, I won't talk about what you ought to be doing. See, what you ought to be doing is what you discover. I can't tell you what you ought to be doing. I can't tell you. There's not all the books in the world that can tell you what you ought to be doing. That's something that you intuitively grasp, you intuitively realize each moment. Okay? Each new moment is fresh. And you can't meet the moment with what you did yesterday or even 5 minutes ago, because each new moment is fresh. Okay, so every day you should awaken like a little child in the morning. With little child leaps from bed, ready for a day of adventure and discovery. And the child has forgotten yesterday. Who was the great Persian poet who said life is but a dream? You know, I can't think of the words now. It's so beautiful. I wish I could think of the words, but I just can't. But it's beautiful. If I can, I'll put it up on the screen. Yesterday is but a dream. Tomorrow is but a vision. Live for today. Something like that. I think it's a great perhaps it's a Sanskrit poem. I can't remember, but it's very apt. So it's the moment. So I can't tell you what you should do in each new moment. See, I don't even know what I'm going to do in each new moment. It's a surprise to me sometimes what I say, okay, or what I do. It's a surprise. Who would have thunk it? You know, like now I'm studying physics, calculus, trigonometry. I've been studying trigonometry now for the past almost 2 years. Okay, I'm really good at it now. Okay, and I enjoy it. I do it every day. Who would have thought? I mean, 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that would have been the very last thing that I ever would have thought that I'd be doing. Okay, so here I am making this video, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing right now. It sits right with me to be making this video and to be saying what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm going to say next either. I haven't pre-planned this. I have no idea what I'm going to say next. It's spontaneous. So, the moment. So, since I can't tell you what you should do in your new moment, I can tell you, however, what interferes with realizing, with discovering, with intuiting what to do in the moment. I can tell you what interferes with it. Okay, so here's a couple of things to interfere with. One of them are distractions. Okay, distractions interfere with the moment. Now you know that when your child comes up to you with a question, how many times, instead of properly paying attention to what your child is really saying, the question they have, you're actually still lost in a text message. Okay? Or you're thinking about what you're going to do later, or what you're going to eat later, or what happened earlier, so you're not totally there. See, in the moment. Well, you blow it. Somehow you don't handle the moment quite right. In some overt or some very subtle way, you don't handle it quite right because you weren't totally there. See, those other things distracted you from what was important. Okay? Thoughts, fantasies, memories, see, distract us from the moment. See, in the moment, if you're aware, fully aware, then you're really there. It's called mindfulness. But if you're lost in thinking, if you're lost in fantasy, if you're lost in thinking about the past or planning for the future, or engaged in some sort of daydream, you're not totally there. That interferes with realizing. Okay? Excessive thought, worry, planning and scheming, analyzing. See, those interfere with realizing, intuiting. Okay? Not that there isn't a place for knowledge, there is. But how about the great doctors? The great doctors always had some kind of an intuitive grasp of things. So they combined what they learned, their book learning, with intuition. See? And how about Einstein? He said intuition was the most important thing. He said his intellect is a servant of intuition. His imagination is a servant of intuition. So he intuited things. In the moment he discovered, see, he realized these tremendous principles. He realized them. And then he figured the math out, or had someone to help him do the math, figure the math out. And then he wrote about what he had discovered. And then later there were experiments to confirm what he had said. See? But it came from intuition. And his imagination, where he did thought experiments, we're all familiar with his thought experiments, where he imagined himself riding on a light beam, or he imagines himself falling through space inside of an elevator. You know, those where he used his imagination. Those were in the service of intuition. Okay? Those were in the service of intuition. It was not those that gave him his insight, his realizations. It was those that helped him to think about what he was realizing or intuiting. So we've talked about not totally being there, about distractions. So can you see now that thoughts are also a distraction, can be a distraction, and they often are. Imagination, fantasy, worrying, planning, scheming can be a distraction, and goals are a distraction. Okay. See, the importance of being. See, when you think back to when you were a little child, your parents, a lot of times maybe your dad, he was gone a lot. When he was there, if he was a good dad, see, some of us didn't have a good dad. I had a good dad. Okay, he had his issues, but he was a good dad. Okay, but some people have not had a good dad. He was a bad dad, or he wasn't there. He wasn't even there. But if you had a good dad, halfway decent dad, when he came home and he was there, it felt good just that he'd be there. And sometimes you felt good just to go and sit in the living room. He was there watching TV or reading the paper or something, just to be near him, his calmness, see, his strength, his nice. See, all you have to do is just be there. That's all you have to do. Sometimes all you need to do is just be there for your kids. Don't always be planning something or doing something to them, or trying to change them, or trying to improve them, or trying to build their character, or always trying to do something. Just be. Let your hair down. Relax a little bit. Okay? Live in the moment. Okay? See how distractions can take you away. So when they take you away from the moment, from what is the right thing to do in the moment, see, then they're diverting you from the symphony. See, your life would be the most beautiful symphony if you look at Christ's life. Paul, Ruth, see, Moses. See, it's just a few examples. Noah. And of course, you can also, I guess, put in people like Einstein, or Albert Einstein, or George Washington, a very noble man. See, these people, their life was a symphony. But if you are diverted from the symphony because you're off chasing after some selfish goal, or you're off drinking, or you're smoking marijuana, or you're angry and planting a revenge, see, that diverts you from what could be the symphony of your life. Okay? My name is Roland.